Hello and welcome to another video. The last 3 weeks I've tested the Zeblaze Ares. It may look like a digital watch, but it's a smartwatch with a touchscreen and of course a color display. Let's first have a look at what we get. There's nothing special to see on the box itself, other than some of the functions listed with icons around it. It's a simpler watch, but it can monitor heart rate and blood pressure, track activities, and it's got some other functions, all at a price of around $21 US. In the box we get a user manual in a few different languages, a magnetic charging cable that snaps onto the back of the watch. It's strong enough to barely hold the weight of the watch itself, and charging takes about 1.5 hours. The watch itself has a nice black color, and it's not a shiny, cheap looking color. I'm not saying it looks expensive, but it looks okay for the price. On the sticker we can see that the top left button works as a power button by long pressing it, and it uses an app called GloryFit. There are only 2 buttons on the Zeblaze Ares, and both of them are on the right side. Heart rate sensor is located on the back, next to the charging connectors. The left side is completely empty. On the front is a raised edge that goes all around the display, so it is somewhat protected against banging into stuff. The 20mm bands are made of silicone and skin-friendly TPU, and it's got a lot of holes for adjusting the size, so it should fit all wrist sizes. Even though it is flexible, I think it's a bit hard, but luckily it's not so hard that it gets uncomfortable to wear. It's time to power it on. This is a 1.3-inch color display with 240 by 240 pixels, so it's very clear and bright. Viewing angles are also very good. The watch itself weighs only 33 grams and measures 41 by 46 mm, and it's 11 mm thick. The setup process is quite simple and the same as with many other watches. Just scan the QR code and install the app. After the install is finished, it will ask you to log in, but this isn't really necessary unless you want to save your data in the GloryFit cloud. I just clicked ignore and it works fine. Next you'll be asked to set up the permissions, and the method here may be different depending on the phone model you're using, so I'll skip it for now. It will search for the device and all we need to do is select it, and it will do the rest itself. I recommend going through all the points that are on the screen right now to set up call and message notifications, heart rate monitoring and so on, so you'll have everything set up the way you want it. I have now been using this watch for about 3 weeks, so let's go through the functions on it before we have a look at the app. On the main screen we have a watch face and we have a few to choose from. The stock one is actually my favorite as it looks kinda cool and shows a lot of information. There are also some that can be downloaded from the app, but more about the app later. This watch face has our heart rate at the top with a graph below it. The graph is live and shows us readings through the whole day, from midnight to midnight. There's also date, time, a steps counter, and the battery status. The battery has a capacity of 170 mAh and can last up to 15 days in battery saving mode. During my test period with normal use, I had to recharge it every 7 days. The easiest way to change the watch face is to hold for a couple seconds and swipe between them. There's a few to choose from on the watch, and as I said earlier, more can be downloaded from the app. Swiping up we have our notifications, which is empty at the moment, but let's see what they look like. First we have an incoming text message. It only shows a small part of the message and it's not possible to scroll to see more of it, which is a bit sad. We can also see notifications for incoming calls. The watch will show a button for hanging up the call, but all it does is stop the vibration on the watch. It doesn't hang up the call or mute it, so the phone keeps ringing. Swiping down we have the quick toggles, and here we have the D&D mode for the watch. The brightness, which I usually keep at the lowest because the display is quite bright. Note that there is no automatic setting for it. Next is the Find Phone function, which will play the ringtone if it's connected to the phone. The last one is the watch settings, and in here we have info, brightness again, off, reset, and so on. When swiping between the different menus, we're actually dragging the layout around. It's not just an animated transition like we see on some cheaper watches. It's a little bit choppy, but it looks okay. Swiping to the left we find today's activity data, which shows us steps, distance and calories. Next is heart rate with the last reading, highest and lowest result. I like the look of the heart rate graph, but it's not real. Meaning it doesn't actually show your heart rate at all. It's just a picture that never changes. Sleep shows us how long we slept in total, our deep sleep and light sleep. Weather shows today's weather and the forecast for the next few days. The music player is only a remote, so we cannot upload MP3 files to this watch. Here we can play, pause, and change songs forward and backward. Sadly, it doesn't show the title of the song. It's also a bit far into the menu, so it's not very quick to access from the main screen. Swiping to the left, we have another menu. Here we have training, which is used to start new activities. We can choose between outdoor running, cycling, swimming. Yes, it is 30 meters water resistant. We have skipping, badminton, table tennis, alpinism, walking, yoga, spinning bike, sit-ups, indoor running, and jumping jack. If we tap on one of them, it will start after a 3 seconds countdown. There's really not much info to see in here though, so all we get is the time spent, distance, heart rate, and swiping up shows steps and calories. This watch doesn't have a GPS, so I guess there's not much info to find anywhere anyway. Status is exactly the same as we saw earlier. Heart rate is also the same, with a fake graph at the bottom. Blood pressure is not something we saw earlier, and it only works when starting it manually. It's not possible to get any reading from it automatically. It takes a while to get the result, but it works, and they are saved in the app, so we can find them later. Sleeping is also exactly the same as we saw before, and the same goes for weather. I'm not sure why they keep repeating the same functions in different menus, but I guess it looks like there's more if you keep repeating them. Music and message are the same again, but in more we have a few new items. Here's a simple stopwatch that does not support laps, and we can start it by touching the screen or pressing the top button. The timer function works as expected, just set a time and it will notify you when it's done, by vibrating. Next is the flashlight, which I personally never use. It's placed a bit far into the menu, so when you actually need it, you'll have to swipe quite a bit to find it. We already saw the find phone function in the quick toggles, but here it is again. The settings menu is the exact same one as we have in the quick toggles, so it doesn't really need to be here at all. It's also much quicker to access it from the toggles menu. Anyway, in here we first have the watch face option, so this is one way to swap between the different installed faces. We can change the display brightness, or just use the quick toggles, which is much easier. The info page shows us our MAC address and the firmware version. Off is used to turn off the watch, obviously. Reset will delete all data that's on the watch. QR code is a shortcut for downloading the GloryFit app. That covers the whole menu on the watch, and as you saw, almost every item is repeated at least once, which is a bit unnecessary in my opinion. Just out of curiosity, let's see what the menu would look like if you remove all the items that are repeated. Now that's a bit more compact, isn't it? At last, navigating between the different pages is easy and the animation looks okay. One function that is nice to have on watches is a notification if you lose connection with the phone. The Zeblaze Ares does show a notification on the screen and vibrates a bit, just in case you forgot the phone somewhere. Let's move over to the GloryFit app. The main page shows us the weather at the top, today's activity data, a heart rate graph, sleep record, and blood pressure at the bottom. It may be a simple app, but everything looks okay, and the data is easy to understand. The activity page has a nice graph of today's steps, with the totals below, and the whole day's activities listed at the bottom. A weekly and monthly summary is also available at the top here, and you'll find another steps counter in the notifications area on the phone. Activities that are started manually can be found in the other sources section, and they are sorted by type, so you can easily find what you're looking for. Since this is a simple watch, there's not too much info about each activity, but we have our distance, steps, time spent, calories, heart rate info, and the heart rate graph on the next page. The daily heart rate info shows us a graph of the whole day, the lowest, highest and average heart rate, and some ranges below. Sleep monitoring seems to work fine and is able to show us deep sleep, light sleep and awake time. There's also a short sleep analysis at the bottom, and apparently I go to sleep too late. Like I said earlier, the blood pressure monitor can only be started manually, and it shows us a graph with high and low values, and there is each reading in a list. The Sports tab allows us to start activities from the phone, and it does show up on the watch as well, which is nice.
3, 2, 1.
Device is where we have all the settings for the watch, and this is where you have to go to download new watch faces. They call it Dial Settings, and it's split into 3 sections. Dial Center is to download new ones, but there's not too many to choose from, so let's hope more are coming. My dial shows the one we already downloaded. Custom dial lets us make our own watch face by choosing a background picture, but it's not possible to change the layout of the objects, so we can only set a background and change the text color. There's also some settings for turning on or off different notifications, sedentary reminders, and setting the alarm clock. The Zeblaze Ares doesn't have a speaker, so we only get vibration alarms. It's not a very powerful vibration, but it had no problems waking me up in the morning. The Do Not Disturb mode works well by turning off notifications and stops the display from lighting up if you wear the watch at night. Some watches have functions for taking pictures by using the watch, and in this app it's placed in universal settings, so it's a bit hidden. It's called Shake to take picture, but it's very sensitive, so it's enough to just move the hand a bit or tap the watch with a finger. Usually when I wanted to take one picture, I ended up with several before I managed to turn the function off. There's also some functions for changing units, changing between 12 and 24-hour time format, changing the device language, and so on. Although it's not the prettiest app I've seen, it works fine and the information in it is mostly easy to find. I don't like the step counter they placed in the notifications area on the phone though, as it's much bigger than it needs to be, and it's not really necessary to have it there at all, in my opinion. The Zeblaze Ares watch doesn't exactly look expensive, but I kinda like the design. It's also easy to use and navigate through the menus, even though every function is repeated several times. To test the accuracy, I started an activity wearing both the Zeblaze Ares and the Mi Watch Lite. The Ares counted about 860 steps more, which is about 6.5% higher than the Mi Watch Lite. I do like the display on this watch, as it's very bright and looks good, especially with this watch face. The battery life is okay, but you're never going to get 14 days unless you switch everything off, so with normal use you'll get about 7 days. The battery indicator in the corner shows the remaining battery in increments of 25%, so it's not going to show the actual percentage. And you may get a surprise when you suddenly fall from 25% to 0 and shuts off shortly after. Overall, it's a simple watch with very basic activity tracking, and I think the watch is okay for the price. And that's it for this video. If you liked it, click that like button, and if you didn't already subscribe, just click that button below the video and a bell for more. Have a nice day and see you in the next video.